Good morning, Ghana. Once again, you are tuned into News Magazine with me, Irbad Ibrahim, and today we have a packed show for you. This show is proudly brought to you by a competent team led by Free, Shasha, and Ubuobi, as well as others. And today we are marking a very important group within the Ghanaian society. Worldwide this week, the world is celebrating people with special needs. We'll have in the studios the president of Association of Students with Special Needs, University of Ghana, as well as another student to serve as a source of inspiration to Ghanaians that have special needs. And again, we'll continue our discussion on the content of the books that are used at the basic level. You just can't afford to miss this show. Do stick and stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
To enroll your ward in a school where quality basic education, discipline and moral upbringing is our hallmark, then come to Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences Basic School. Great Asas, Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences has vacancies in preschool, lower and upper primary, JHS 1 and JHS 2, with spacious and ventilated classrooms. The school also has excellent boarding facilities for students from upper primary to JHS. Great Asas also has a well-stocked library, a school bus that picks your ward from home to school and back home, with adequate security measures to ensure your ward's safety. Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences Preschool has state-of-the-art learning materials to make learning fun for your ward. We also have the Cadet Corps and a cultural troupe to tap hidden talents in your ward. Locate Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences at Awoshi Last Stop, Accra. Great Asa!
You are the most high. Hallowed be thy name. Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be thy name. Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be thy name.
You tell me, say, make I know that everything's gonna be okay. You are the father to the fatherless, the miracle working God. You make the blind man to see. You made the crippled man to walk. You are the lily of Galilee. You make impossible possible.
I got my truck in my mind. Unesino no muganeto yo. Matana chiani dima. Hello. Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be thy name. Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be thy name. Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be thy name. I woke up strong on a Monday. I go to gym on a Tuesday. Then to the studio on Wednesday. I walk it out till Thursday morning. I be chilling on a Friday. I play some shows on Saturday. If you ask me what my best day is, it's when I praise you on.
You're welcome back. Abena Safo helps us with the trending news. Abena, what do you have for us by way of trending news?
Okay, our trending news for today, we've got a lot and very good stories that I feel, people would like to hear and would like to know what is trending around them. The first one talks about Britain cannot walk away from Ghana's economic challenges. This is from O24 and from My Joy Online.
Okay, well, we see the Brits as partners in development. So therefore, if they can't walk away, then they should walk with us. But the quantum of British investment in Africa continues to dwindle. It's a pale shadow of its former self. We engage now more with Turkey. The continent engages more with, China and then other countries. So if a very important country like the UK that colonized almost a third of the world is ready to do business, I think Ghana and the rest of Africa stand ready.
Okay. Okay, and away from that, the next one says how to save $5 million before retirement. That's from Piece of M.
Normally, you see, these are opinion pieces from people.
Yeah.
There are a lot of investment pieces of advice. If people had good advice, maybe they wouldn't invest in a Ponzi scheme like we've seen in the past, PRAM, DKM, and a host of others. So therefore, while you are in active service, there are fiscal pieces of advice that you receive. What happens after you go on retirement? So that is also very important. MPs in the last parliament took as their ex gratia something in the neighborhood of 400,000 Ghana cedis. That is like a send-off party. Yeah. But then, right from the get-go, banks would be chasing you. They are telling you ways you can spend the 400,000. So if you are quite prudent and frugal, then you'd want to eke out what little you can out of that lump sum. So when you go on retirement or you lose your seat, you are not found wanting. So people in civil service, private practice, and others should think of the next day after they turn 60, the next day after they go on retirement. So it's good to have a plan in place. And some too get married quite late. So they go on retirement while the kids are still young. Look for credible investments or funds, educational funds you can put your money in. So when you are weak and frail, and sometimes senile and can't take care of your kids, there would have been a support system that will make them remain in school rather than turn out as dropouts.
Yeah, and I also think Ghanaians or Africans are now becoming to accept the policy or becoming to realize that saving it's very important in one's life. So sometimes we think about the Western world saying there is money there. It's not really about that, but sometimes even you conceive and then you open a bank account for that particular child, and then you start saving before the child is even born. So,
yes, so we don't need Westerners to teach us how to save.
Exactly.
You remember when we were kids, the little boxes we had, you throw away a few coins. So that culture has to be resuscitated so that whatever you earn, you put away something for a rainy day.
Certainly. So saving is very important,
yes.
So we should be able to do that. And the next one says 6 die in accident at Goma and Pota Junction.
Our roads are bad. We need to do better. And then the traffic lights are not working. We need to work on them.
Definitely. It's a sad story though. And then the other one says Education Minister mobilizes 1.5 billion for infrastructure. That's from Graphic Online.
I don't know whether free SHS comes with an element of expansion, but if infrastructure means we are going to get bigger classrooms, build more schools and others, and that is a step in the right direction. When we start the discussion, one of the production team members actually went to a public school, and the story we are getting from there is not inspiring. So I believe we'll be able to tackle this during our conversation with Madam Nancy Yelpoi.
Well, that's a good news as well then. And then the next one says, China burdening Africa with debt. That's from BBC.
We should take smart loans. His Excellency says we are not just going to take loans, we are going to take smart loans. So it has to be a symbiotic relationship. And China, as the lender, should not get the lion's share. And I've said time and again, let's not, mortgage very sensitive parts of our economy, like ports of entry and others, to the Chinese. But then our foreign affairs, ministry was built by the Chinese and all that. So therefore, they are partners, but let's keep our trump cards guarded close to our chests so that we don't wish away the future of this country.
Well, but IMF has come out to say Africans are taking too much, borrowing too much from the Chinese government, and so Africa would soon be in shambles of, debts. And
since the fall of the Berlin Wall, we've said that the, Cold War is over, but there is a seeming economic battle between the East and the West. So therefore, some countries are not too happy that China is making inroads on this continent. So therefore, such concerns and apprehensions that are expressed by IMF are quite understandable. And Ghana will soon renegotiate with the IMF or even quit the current, conditionalities we've had to contend with. It saddens my heart that hundreds of thousands of Ghanaian youth can't be employed by government because someone that belongs to a Bretton Woods institution like the IMF is telling you not to employ your own young people. So therefore, we need to do a rethink, do a very candid introspection of some of these decisions, and take decisions that collectively will help Ghana and the rest of Africa.
Okay, that's where we'll leave it for our trending news for today. I'll be back with comments. I know everybody's got a lot of discussion with our guests for today, and so I'll be back with your comments. Keep your comments coming.
Thank you so much, Abena Safo. By way of trending news, Abena will come back to read some of your WhatsApp messages. Let's go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we sit with members of the Association of Students with Special Needs, University of Ghana. Do stick and stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Do you want to enroll your ward in a school where quality basic education, discipline and moral upbringing is our hallmark? Then come to Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences Basic School. Great Asas, Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences has vacancies in preschool, lower and upper primary, JHS 1 and JHS 2, with spacious and ventilated classrooms. The school also has excellent boarding facilities for students from upper primary to JHS. Great Asas also has a well-stocked library, a school bus that picks your ward from home to school and back home, with adequate security measures to ensure your ward's safety. Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences Preschool has state-of-the-art learning materials to make learning fun for your ward. We also have the Cadet Corps and a cultural troupe to tap hidden talents in your ward. Locate Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences at Awoshi Last Stop, Accra. Great Asa! Do you want
If I catch anyone talking, I'll hit the person.
It be 2 goals. Me, I say it be 2 goals.
Stand up. I said stand up.
Madam,
You sit down. Stand up. Kneel down. Stretch out your hand. From the look on your face, I can see you talk tomorrow. Stretch out your hand.
Hey, hey, 2 Casale Primary. Change lesson, please. Basic, good morning.
Why you late?
Oh, my main shampoo.
Why you late?
My name is last one.
Why you late? Bejabe, me. Why you late?
Say, Major, good morning.
Hey, why you late?
Oh, my main shampoo.
Oh, why you late?
My name is last one.
Hey, why you late? Me. You fat, why you late?
School the big, you just follow your ass. time and it's happy last time. They be a me best one I would my time 11:30 then put us in my bante.
Wabantem won. Me catch ya won't so walk catch you this boy and kasa you don't respect. Actually to be the assign me he cry and say was I be feeling class test. You waba baby John Bulu say wine. Could you crab or no free pantine? And then I show my home papa. Say why we are way past the one from
this one is not my fault. I'm coming inside, I get call. It's not a phone call, it's not a home call. This one is a special nature's call.
And so, what are you waiting for? Menya nice man mokongwaso obe kwa ko Naija offer pastor come lie down ye fast my time oko
say time need ye jai man in court me fifi and no anime in piebo say headmaster who me cry on kem ko so die unye mo che apostle
ready fool hwe na wa ma menja
oh say please
say fin wunwa de hwe say ma wugina ho keka me ma mi bu mfunya sa sembeba yo
say who me mama why na me biom me I have the tension crowd me dodom Ochina cry for you me draw me come to bomb me and who I shall we so bad.
School the big kake. You just wanna know your F again. Hey no darling. Brother, if I wake up
and you say good morning.
Why you late?
And then so they come at him pray. Yeah, make a be a winty. And you praise me by so the mundi.
Ah, that two boys name so my.
You're welcome back. Today we have a two-pronged show for you, and we have students with special needs from the University of Ghana, and then after this we will have Madam Nancy Yelpoi. To my immediate right is President of Association of Students with Special Needs, University of Ghana, Mr. Gilbert Ajari Boateng. Gil, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too.
And then to my immediate right is a student. She's in the person of Esther Nagete. Esther, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. President, this week the world will celebrate International Day for people with special needs. How significant is that day?
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity as well. It's a day that has been designated by the United Nations. So it is something that is done across the globe, and the significance is that a lot of people normally have erroneous perceptions about students with special needs, and this kind of term is something that is known widely at the University of Ghana, but within the general public, they normally refer to us as persons living with disability. So these erroneous perceptions, as I have alluded to earlier, we use the day to talk about, sensitize people, the general public, educate them on issues related to special needs students in order to, extinguish some of these perceptions. Else people will continue holding them for long. You understand?
Okay.
Yes.
That's quite a good point, Mr. President. I'll come back to you, Presido. Esther, how does it feel like being such a pretty woman, but then you can't look yourself into the mirror? How does it end growing up? How have you been able to get this high on the educational ladder despite these challenges?
Thank you very much. I think that for me personally, I feel I have to do something. I need to change some perceptions out there. And I really want to make an impact, change perceptions, and try to create a difference. So that's my push all this while. So even if at a point there's a challenge that is so difficult trying to tackle it, I feel I don't want to fail myself. I need to make a difference. So that's what has been pushing me so far.
And so far, Mr. President, how has the reception been? At the university level, of course, you'll be dealing with fellow adults who understand some of these things. But maybe 20 years ago, your first day in school, what was the experience like?
Actually, I started my education, and mind you, not all of us were born blind or disabled. That's why we have the prenatal course and the postnatal course. Okay. So some of us were not born blind, and we had it in course of probably our life. Me, for example, I wasn't born blind, so I started my basic education in a school that was not, you know, a special school. But along the way, I had a challenge. So I started my education from the Ghana National Basic School in Cape Coast, where I went through with sighted students or students who were not disabled. And these students were very good. Some of them were having, you know, bad perceptions, and some thoughts even relating or having a relationship with a special needs student would make them attract that kind of challenge, and they were not coming near to us. But that was not something that could stifle or impede me from progressing, you understand? So yes, I just placed all those things at the back of me, and I decided to climb the ladder high to the university. So I couldn't really get worried much about those things.
Okay, well spoken, Mr. President. And Esther, what about you? For example, you know, women generally face challenges in Ghana. You say you want to make impact, you want to make an impact, you want to inspire others. So throughout, right from basic school, did various schools provide a conducive environment for you to bring out the best academic self you have?
I think that they are trying. It's not much, but it's still there, and I think generally Ghana as a country can do better, because I know because of some, probably I would want to be a statistician.
A statistician. You'll deal with numbers, you'll crunch numbers.
Yes, but then just after JHS or the basic school level, there's no equipment to do mathematics and science, so at the secondary school. So then you don't do those things, which means if you get to the university level, you will not be able to do economics or statistics or anything related to those courses. And it's a challenge, but then I think the country has to do more.
Mr. President, you are well spoken, and given the opportunity, I think you can serve at a very high level. Why should people with special needs be tailor-made by circumstance to be doing only reading subjects? Why don't they provide an opportunity for you to do calculation subjects?
I think the issue has to do with the availability of those materials. So if the materials are available, it will optimize us to, you know, go through those courses. But if you don't have the equipment, the requisite equipment, of course, that will enable us to do the courses, at the end of the day, they will mark you. And I know, you know, even in our various campuses, whether University of Ghana or UCC or whatever, they don't mark your work because you are a special needs student. They mark it according to the marking scheme. So if you go and do those courses and you are not having the materials to, as it were, enable you go through the course successfully, at the end of the day, you will fail. And you keep failing. So the government thought it wise that then let's give the opportunity. As for the reading courses, because we use our laptops and our computers to do the reading, it doesn't really, you know, worry us a lot. And I believe you might have heard about the Braille tool, which we use our hands to read. But University of Ghana, because of the technological advancement, the Braille has now been, you know, put aside for a while. We are now concentrating on typing. So you type your work on the computer, and right after that, it is printed out for the said lecturer, for the lecturer to go and mark it. So it doesn't have to go through any, you know, complex or complicated processes anymore. You understand?
Yes, Mr. President, you know, I have a special affinity for students with special needs. I remember For the 2 years I did in UG, University of Ghana, one of those years was completely spent at Saba Hall.
Oh, really?
And so I was on Block B.
Okay, B
and
block.
B block.
Yeah.
And B block is meant to be a conducive place for students with special needs. Yeah. One of my roommates, so eloquent, so intelligent. He was in the inner chamber, and we had the discussions about life, and sometimes he beat us to it in terms of logical reasoning. Yeah. So therefore, is the university receptive to the idea that you can even outwit others academically, and therefore it has to throw its weight behind you?
Yeah, I think the University of Ghana, for now, I can eulogize them for doing certain things right in terms of providing us the congenial, environment for us to, as it were, come out successfully. Because most of the lecturers gone are the days were not abreast with issues pertaining to special needs students. So they didn't know how to handle, special needs students in their various classes, you understand? But for now, the university has been able to, orient them around that aspect. So most of them are now aware, unlike at first that they were oblivious of issues. And the university too has been able to create an office, and the office is solely mandated to ensure that special needs students go through their activities successfully. And the name of the office is the Office of Students with Special Needs. And anyone who knows University of Ghana, I believe will know Sajensa. So this office is opposite Sajensa at the University of Ghana. They are in the same building with the Office of Students with Special Needs. And I normally tell students that those who have alacrity for money should know the Office of Students, should know the Student Financial Aid Office. And as soon as you know the Student Financial Aid Office, automatically you will know the Office of Students with Special Needs.
In closing, Esther, I'll start with you, then wrap up with His Excellency the President. What should we expect? What are the series of events you have to mark this important occasion?
Okay, so the program is, we want people to come, because mostly when it happens, it looks like the program is, the people attend is just the people or people living with disability. But the sole aim of the program is not meant to be that. It's meant to educate the public on the abilities of the people that we think are disabled.
So what are the dates? Maybe the dates, the venue, and the series of events.
So the date is on the 9th of November. That's coming Friday.
Okay.
It will be held at the premises of the Office for Students with Special Needs. And we've invited people, students from other institutions they'll come and show their talents, what they can do, and there will be a blood donation also.
Okay. Mr. President, I'll give you the final word. What should we expect on the 9th?
Yeah, so on the 9th, we are bringing the Labor and Employment Minister, the Honorable Ignatius Bafwe-Wua, and the Deputy Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Ms. Gifty Ampofuchum, will be there. The Pro-VC, Pro-Vice Chancellor in charge of research, Professor Dudu, is going to be the chairman for the occasion. And the coordinator of the office, Dr. Awomana Esiedu, who also doubles as a lecturer at the School of Performing Arts, University of Ghana, is also going to be present. And we have also invited students from the University of Education, Winneba, then our junior brothers from Ekropon School for the Blind. They are coming to entertain us with a live band performance. We also have students with special needs who will be giving, reciting poems on that day. We have a number of, events on that day, and it is going to, as it were, demonstrate the repertoire that students with special needs have. And some of these skills are not known by the general public.
Okay.
So if I can crave your indulgence to probably put my contacts out there.
Please do, please do.
So if anyone wants to come around and the person is finding it cumbersome to probably reach the University of Ghana campus or come to the venue, the person can call me on 0244 06 1940. Let me repeat for emphasis sake. 0244 06 1940. I believe we have a lot of things to show to the general public.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. President. The right place to be on Friday is at the Office of Students with Special Needs, University of Ghana, and all Ghanaians are invited. We want to assure you that we are behind you, and as a nation, whatever we need to do to support you, we will. I want to shake hands with you. So first of all, Esther will stretch her hand. Esther, thank you so much for making time. Thank you. Mr. President, you stretch your hand. Thank you so much. We had in the studios, President, Office of Students with Special Needs, University of Ghana, Mr. Gilbert Ajeri Boaten, and then Esther Nagete, a student. Till, no, we go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we sit with Madam Nancy Elpoy. Those two can stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Hello, lovely people of Africa. African Youth Time. It's the show, as I rightly said, that gives African youth the platform to have an up close with living legends who are helping build the continent.
The youth of Africa, they have a lot of potential.
What is killing Africans is our inability to discover and identify our potentials and what we can do for ourselves.
Nobody makes you a leader. You become a leader.
We are not poor. The resources in Congo alone can feed the whole Africa.
Do you want to enroll your ward in a school where quality basic education, discipline and moral upbringing is our hallmark? Then come to Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences Basic School. Great Assas, Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences has vacancies in preschool, lower and upper primary, JHS 1 and JHS 2, with spacious and ventilated classrooms. The school also has excellent boarding facilities for students from upper primary to JHS. Great Assas also has a well-stocked library, a school bus that picks your ward from home to school and back home, with adequate security measures to ensure your ward safety. Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences Preschool has state-of-the-art learning materials to make learning fun for your ward. We also have the Cadet Corps and a cultural troop to tap hidden talents in your ward. Locate Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences at Awoshi Last Stop, Accra. Great Asa!
Now, I would like to call on Osei Kwame, the Seprewa virtuoso from Ghana, to play the Ghanaian harp lute. Osei Kwame, Seprewa. He's going to welcome you formally to this function and then sing praises, appellations to God for his mercy and his blessing on humankind. Osei Kwame, Seprewa.
Takramada bojuamo, emojali diabru sanye, yadia yanti musio bianca. Osane yanga me na osiaso. You are fata. Me ure me bawo dressa wo. Ejaya kwantie ina shawansa ko promotie. Budi ayanti me nkwatu enye bibia mane nye ye wa brabamu. Nti dumbu ayenio na body, or no boss on the assassin. But don't come body and the young papa on the assassin who fitted it. I have no body and wine and no self.
You're welcome back, and today we have a guest who is no stranger to the show, almost a regular commentator on this show because of her wealth of experience and understanding of the educational sector, Madam Nancy Yelpoi. Now I pronounce the name right, yes, don't I? Ma'am, we are assessing and scrutinizing the content of the books used in basic schools. And we are still on RME, Religious and Moral Education. But in person, this is the integrated science copy of the book that is used at Basic 6, Class 6, P6. One of the producers went to a public school. And the challenge the school faces is that these textbooks have even stopped coming. The Ghana Education Service does not supply them. So they now rely on private publishers like Akiola and others to provide books that they study in school. And the reason they gave was that even exercise books have stopped coming because government is spending all of the money it has budgeted for education on free SHS. So should we be robbing Peter to pay Paul? Or you think it is not a prudent idea where the resources matter the most at the basic level, we starve them to fund free SHS?
Well, good morning, wonderful listeners, for having me here again. Yeah, it's like we are really robbing Peter to pay Paul. But that is most unfortunate because the foundation is more important. If the foundation cannot stand the test of time, the builders build in vain. So whatever the reason, I think we should appeal to the authorities that these books must come. If we do not have basic education, we can't have secondary education. We have to think seriously about it and rethink and maybe redesign our policy because it's something we cannot forego. If you can't read one, you can't go to two. So I think we need the books.
Mommy, I know you are a bit careful because in this country, whatever statement you make is politicized.
Yes.
But do you think a policy like that really makes sense? That you say for your kids that are between the ages of 6 and 12, you won't give them money, but then you would invest everything in kids, your sons that are 20 or 30 or 40. Don't you think we need a complete overhaul?
We need a total overhaul, but the technical people should really hold the bull by the horns. You call a spade and not an instrument for digging. You might as well have used a pickaxe to dig, and that will do better. Let us face the realities of the situation and go by what we think is the best. I repeat, we cannot build on top of a weak foundation. We are excited now about secondary school. Fine, who doesn't like free things? But if it's going to affect the foundation the way it is, then I think we have to think again.
So what happens? You start on top of the GES. Who disburses the funds? Who determines that textbooks are printed for basic schools?
Well,
who do we hold accountable?
We have a whole department, the CRDD, the Curriculum, Research Division. They are in charge because they go through the manuscripts that are written by people. And then they come to recommend that this book should be written based on the terms of reference, based on the needs assessment that was given. And so you get people to write the books. That is already set up. But now it's the issue of money. Now they may use government funds to print the books. They may use donors funding to print the books. Whoever gives us the money to print the books, it's important the books are printed. Let's not run away from the truth. So wherever the source of the money is coming, can we print more books for the basic education?
For P6 and for a public school, it looks like the kids there are not from privileged families. No poor person will take their child to a public school now. So I think we are not being fair to the poor Because if the foundation of a child from a rich family isn't good, there are ways of patching up. But for a hopeless family, don't you think we are being egregiously unfair?
I don't think we've ever been fair to anybody in this society, seriously speaking. The poor need the assistance the more. But you see, if the affluent society is bigger, we just fly away with our ideas. And I think that is wrong. The poor need the services more. So wherever we get the money from, we should get people together to make sure the books are printed. I mean, having books for basic education is non-negotiable. We cannot replace it with anything. Whatever the arguments, they need the books. If we are to build a good foundation, they need the books. It's not an issue of discussion or argument. They need the books. What are the problems? What are the bottlenecks? What do we do about it? We shouldn't politicize printing of books for basic education. It's not negotiable.
You may join the conversation via WhatsApp. The line to text us on is 0242-817-239. And in due course, we will announce the phone lines. Ma'am, we've been reviewing this for class 1. For parents that don't know, these are the things the kids are taught regarding religious and moral education. And for something like this, even though you sat at a very high place, the basic things, for example, there is a whole chapter or unit on the family system, family values. So at that infantile age of 5 or 6, just as you indicated for class 1, what are some of the things you think would go into content?
I think value is a value. Whether it's for a P6-old or for an adult. If we identify that respect is a value we need, or whatever we qualify it to be, we should teach it at any level that we think they can comprehend. So you just don't pick it out in isolation. But for example, like in this country, I would think really, if you read the Bible, it's one of the books that believes in time. Everything in the Bible is automated by time, from day one of creation. And so this country, we need to go by time. If the person is young enough and needs to know, the person should know. You don't have to wait and say, if the value of respect is there, the value, respect for all this, the value of keeping your things and don't stealing. There are values that are general, whether to the young or the old. And the earlier we start them, the better. So the question of at that age, should we start value? I say yes.
You know, now you go to a bus station, like people your age are struggling to sit on a seat with very, young people. In times past, you would actually surrender your seat to an elderly person. Is it the kind of telenovelas we watch or the kind of content we have on the internet, online, that is changing the values you are talking about?
I think we are not being fair to the young generation. They are bombarded with telenovelas. They are bombarded with foreign stories. They are bombarded with foreign ethics. Ethics should be taught as early as you can. Once the child can reason, tell the child the values and what is ethical and unethical. And so if they think an adult standing is unethical, they will not let the adult stand. But we think about what we see. And I say, a typical foreign or country outside started from where we started. I have seen pictures of Germans naked on horses when they were kids. It so happened that by the time we arrived, they had stopped those things. So let us go through the phase and train them in our values. But now it looks like our values are a cake. They are color, they say. And so we should throw them away, which I think is not wrong. It's not right. If we keep the kind of pace we have, changing our youth, I told you the last time, I don't know what youth we are expecting tomorrow. And we are beginning to have signs and symptoms of that.
Family values boil down to a communal living.
Yes.
In your time, a whole family would eat from the same bowl.
Yes.
But do you think we can do something for the kids at this level to tackle the individualism that they grow with? If it is food, the person has a spoon and then eats alone. Whatever they do individually. Don't you think it is affecting us, especially at that level?
You don't even go to the extent of eating, but even playing ampe, playing games. You have a wall around your house, a big gate, Heaven's Gate, And you don't even want your children to interact with the next door's children because you are not of the same social structure or social level. And social stratification, that's how far it can take us to be. Just the little things we can do to improve our environment. If you do not want your child to relate with my child because of the level and differences in academic status, then we are widening the gap of our social ethics, of our values. Don't talk about even eating. Would you like to leave your child by the entrance of your gate to go and play with the next door? She might get dirty. So what values are you? You are just telling that child that you say you are of better value or you are more respected than the other one. Meanwhile, you are in the same school. Why do you perpetuate those things? We should just make sure we don't do it. But you and me, we are talking of it on the tele, but that's how we train our children. Don't go next house because they are dating. Because they don't have a private toilet. And so if I, a human being, feel that next door neighbors cannot stand my children, what do we expect the larger majority of the society to do? That is what we are producing, what we are producing. The values we are talking about, how do we inculcate them? At what level? Not the big, big things. Of course, eating with spoon, maybe you say for hygienic reasons, but just the play. Even on campuses or schools, you realize that there's a sort of a social demarcation between the rich and the poor, which should not be accepted.
So while teaching these kids in class, what then do we tell them? And do we tell them they are better than their next door neighbor, or we tell them they are one and the same? I'll tell you a shocking story. I was lecturing somewhere and someone told me something. A civil servant drawing salary from my tax and yours had 2 children, and anytime they went to school, the same school, there would be 2 cars with a different driver in each car. So if the first child was Akosua and the second was John, this car was bought in the name of John. So John would be driven to school while the car is tailed by Akosua's car to be dropped in the same school. So therefore, for a child given such a privileged treatment, how do you think the ethic of equality and accepting the other just like you would be encouraged in this setting?
That's why I say if I'm anybody in this country, I'll teach ethics even from the mother's womb. It's very, very unethical. One, you are drawing whatever luxury you are getting from my salary and his salary. And so you take it and you feel you are so rich. You can let your child, your children, divide them with 2 different cars. You are getting fuel. Whether it's free or not, or you are buying it, is unethical. It should not be tolerated. It should just not. But the thing is, the person doing it, what came to his mind? What are you enjoying from that class? That you are rich, you are wealthy. So why do you build your house in the skies? If you have to stay in an environment, you have to be part of that environment. And if you think 2 children, it was bought in this one's name, we are a lot of orphanages we cannot run in this country. Let us not allow those things to just go by like water through under the bridge. It is unethical.
So modesty and moderation, is
yes,
that what you are
modesty
talking
and moderation
about?
should really be undertaken. And we, those who are trained with the taxpayers' money, should always think twice when we are doing this. That greed or that degree of selfishness should not be tolerated.
Section 4 of Primary 1 RME, Religious and Moral Education, MAM, talks about religious practices and their moral implications. So there's talk of Christianity, Islam, and the African traditional religion. So at that level, even though I asked this question sometime last week to a different guest, at that level, how do we let the children appreciate diversity in religion while they remain true to the pristine beliefs they've been born into?
You see, these books were written the way they are written because the society has gotten to this level. Most of these things were imbibed at home during family evening gatherings after meals. Now we realize in the society that the families are even not there. And so we have to find a way of inculcating it or put it into the books where somebody can read. That is where they are, where they are. They were supposed to be part of our normal social life in the family. But if it's gone, there's no social life, and we don't have it in the books, it means we virtually have nothing to live by. That's why we are finding some of these things here. And the families handle them better. But here they are, the person coming to teach does not understand it. How does he handle it better? We are really found at the crossroads of things that I think that the present generation or authorities should be thinking more than those who were, because the whole system is getting congested, is getting confused. What we are talking at that level, they will not pick it. But if it were home, the grandmother or the auntie will tell the person, you know, when you respect somebody, it's very good. You pray, you go to church, but God says we should love everybody. That is the way they were handled. Now we have put it. Are you sure the person going to teach it is going to elaborate it the way nature wants it to be elaborated? No. But what are the options? It must be in the book or it will be found nowhere. Some people don't even want their parents to come and stay with them. They are thinking of the European family. The Europeans have gone through the ladder we have gone through and reached where they are now. But you see, they come and tell us that, oh no, we didn't go through it that way, and we accept it. And so we are throwing these things out of the window, and it's beginning to tell on us. Like it or not, it's beginning to tell on us that we are throwing away valuable values.
Okay. On this note, we go for a quick commercial break. Sorry we can't pick calls today, but your text messages will be responded to by Madame Nancy Elpo. Those stick and stay with us. When we come back, Abena reads your messages.
Hello, lovely people of Africa, African Youth Time. This is the show, as I rightly said, that gives African youth the platform to have an up-close with living legends who are helping build the continent.
The youth of Africa, they have a lot of potential.
What is killing Africans is our inability to discover and identify our potentials and what we can do for ourselves.
Nobody makes you a leader. You become a leader.
We are not poor. The resources in Congo alone can feed the whole Africa.
Do you want to enroll your ward in a school where quality basic education, discipline and moral upbringing is our hallmark? Then come to Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences Basic School. Great Asas, Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences has vacancies in preschool, lower and upper primary, JHS 1 and JHS 2, with spacious and ventilated classrooms. The school also has excellent boarding facilities for students from upper primary to JHS. Great Asas also has a well-stocked library, a school bus that picks your ward from home to school and back home, with adequate security measures to ensure your ward's safety. Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences Preschool has state-of-the-art learning materials to make learning fun for your ward. We also have the Cadet Corps and a cultural troupe to tap hidden talents in your ward. Locate Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences at Awoshi Last Stop, Accra. Great Asa!
Hello, do you remember Komla Domo? Madame Nancy Elpo has just made a very good revelation that his mother was instrumental in, editing many of the books that are used at various levels. So not only did the son make us proud, behind the scenes, the mother of Komla Domo was also helping the Ghana Education Service edit most of the books that are used at various levels. Abena, welcome back.
Thank you.
What do you have for us by way of messages?
Well, we've received excellent social media feedback from our fans. And the first one says, my name is Steven from University of Ghana. I really appreciate your bright morning with wonderful openness for the show. Good morning, Kantanka TV. And then the next one says, with regards to your headlines on the accident, I think the media has to support the public with road safety campaigns. Abdul from Bolga. And then the other one also says, I am happy Kantanka TV is giving attention to students with special needs. God bless Kantanka TV. And then the fourth one talks about, the fourth one says, ask Madam her view about the reasons why students in the private basic school perform better than those in the public school. But at her level, was the trend the same? That's a question actually. And then the other one also says, great show, Adams from Kaswa. How effective is the CRDD? Because this is the first time I'm hearing from I'm hearing their names. Salifu from Tumu, Upper East Region. And then the last one is actually a birthday, which says, happy belated birthday to Sharon of the office, the Deputy Minister of Education from Kofi Same. That will be all for our trending news for today. And to remind you, we appreciate all of your comments, and thanks so much. I hand it back to you.
So that's by way of text messages from Abena Safo. Well done, Abena. Madam Nancy Elpoi, 2 quick questions. Why do the kids in private schools do better? And then the curriculum research division. How come we don't know too much about what they do?
Yes, like
and that is in closing,
yeah,
because we are wrapping up.
I think they are right, but it's basically supervision. Because most of the teachers, even at the private schools, are not trained. They are well educated, they could be graduates, but they do not have that aspect of training in education to handle them. But the heads, because it's a private institution, because they are making the money, supervision is very, very good. And in life, everything you supervise, you get the best out of it, even your own business, even your own house. So I think the catch where there is supervision. The private schools make sure that they supervise and they get the best. In the public schools, maybe we have to tell head teachers to do better supervision than they are doing. That's basically what it is supervision. Now, the CRDD has been there for ages, ever since the institution of the Ghana Education Service. And they are doing a wonderful job. They do a lot of reading. They read all premiers. They read all notes you send to them. Then they come up with what should be done. So CRDD has been there. They are doing a good job, but they are very quiet, but very effective.
No, but why do they read manuscripts and then we publish those books in India? Why?
We published them in India, like I said. The very first books that were published in India, one, we didn't have the capacity in Ghana to print them. We got the printing houses. Remember, technology is not what it was. Now it's far advanced. So getting them published at the right time, we couldn't do them in Ghana. That was one of the reasons, at least the time I was there, that we couldn't get the capacity to do it at the right time. People were saying the books are needed, so you just have to send it there. And the cost here and in India, there wasn't much difference. After printing and shipping them, the cost between the Indians and the Ghanaians was not much. So it's one capacity at that time. But now I'm out of the service, I don't know, but I presume capacity could still be one of the reasons. And the time they need to print. If you need the books in 1 month, or 2 months, or 3 months, then you probably send them to India. But if you need it in a year, maybe you could get them printed in Ghana.
So do you think it's something we can justify? I think this is not a strong, reason.
It certainly is not. We need to
the quantum of our annual budget that goes into education, you know that.
Yeah, but if we use it for paying teachers and for doing all the things, the niceties we want to do, we need to put up very big printing houses that can do this work in months, not in years.
Thank you so much, Madam Nancy Elpoi. Good to see you, as always.
Happy to be here again.
Continue to, live long for a century and then after. So we come catch a repeat of this show at 10:30 p.m. tonight, and catch us on Friday on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Do stick and stay with it. Do continue watching Kantanka TV, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Do have a good day.